Ms. Vizicay. Thank you for letting me come into your classroom the other day. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming to observe.
You're welcome. Just wanted to show you some notes that I had.
Okay.
Just some positives that I highlighted here, and those low inference notes that we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Our students, they were allowed to speak at a high level. I think you actually asked them how many different towers can you make using one red, one blue, and one yellow cube.
Mm-hmm.
So that was some really high level questioning going on. So
Thank you.
I think if you continue to do that, then they'll continue to be successful in your classroom. And then also I like the collaborative approach that you turned to. You said students turned and talked about how their patterns were the same and different. And I just think that that was really powerful for them, because not only do they get to see what they were doing, but then they get to see what other students were doing. So I thought that was really great how you had them turning and talking, and it was that collaborative approach. One question I had was, how do students know what they will learn for the day?
So before we start our lessons, we always go over what our learning target is. So I have those posted up on the board, and I say them and they repeat it to me afterwards. So we all go over that. Sometimes I'll call on a few students and say, what does that mean to you? But we review a learning target before every single lesson, and that's posted every day.
Right. And I know you had mentioned that right now you guys are doing the mathematical mindset, so that's not scripted in that lesson.
Yeah, so with the math mindset unit, there's not a specific standard they're focusing on. They're focusing on some of the standards for mathematical practice. So those learning targets, which in that case with the blocks that you observed, they were learning how they could use manipulatives for math and connect using those tools and how they can solve problems with that.
Right. So can you think of a standard, a way that you would identify a standard before, at the beginning of your lesson while you were teaching students?
Yes, so our next unit coming up, we're going into the first units for the new Ready Math program, and the first standard is focusing on adding numbers within 20, and that would be the standard that will be posted on the board. I would have it in kid-friendly terms. I can add numbers within 20, and same way I do it with the math mindset unit. We're gonna look at it, we'll repeat it and say it with each other, so they know exactly what they're doing.
Right, and just like you just said, it's really, just really important to identify the standard. That way, they not only know why they're being taught it, but what they're being taught. So do you think we can practice that for the next time?
Yes, absolutely.
You're in your classroom? So how would you communicate to students that standard? So for the next time, because you mentioned that they would have to add and subtract numbers of 20. So let's just kind of role play what you would say to students.
I would call them over to the gathering area. So if you were my student, I use my attention signal, which is 1, 2, 3, eyes on Mrs. V.
Right.
They'll respond 4, 5, 6, our eyes are fixed. I'll give them their directions to clean up their area, come and join us on the carpet. I always review all my expectations before we start a lesson, so I remind them how we're supposed to be sitting. We go over that real quick. And then the same way I will point to the standard so they are looking at it, physically pointing one-to-one correspondence for the words. I'll say it to them, and then they will repeat that back. So I would say, I can add numbers within 20, and you as the student would repeat back to me, I can add numbers within 20.
Right. Seems like you've got a very good grasp on that. Do you think, now I know the hurricane's coming, could be here, who knows, Tuesday or whatever, but do you think we can set this up for next Friday?
Yes.
Where I can come in and observe, you just telling the students, hey, this is the standard that's being taught. Is that okay?
Yes, absolutely. We'll be into that first unit, so we will be focusing on that first standard.
Okay.
So it won't be the math mindsets.
Right.
Yes.
Hey, thank you, Ms. V.
Thank you.
All righty.
Pleasure.
Bye.